Yo, what is up everyone? This is Frank over here from PlayerEssence.com and welcome to the episode of PlayerEssence Cross Nintendo. We've got a pretty good show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about some Skylanders. Yeah, I know, I'm PlayerEssence Cross Nintendo crazy. We've got some information on Devil's Third, and in the main topic we're going to discuss Nintendo's summer drought of games and how you guys feel about that, and of course how I feel about it. But first, let's go ahead and get right into the news. So, Skylanders Superchargers, I think that's what it's called, or something like that, is coming to the Wii U, of course, and it looks really good. GameXplain uploaded 8 minutes of direct feed footage from the Wii U version using Donkey Kong with this Donkey Konga blasters and the Donkey Kong racing parts, and this game graphically is looking very impressive. The textures look nice, the frame rate looks real stable, except for some of the racing. It might have just been the way the game was playing, but it did look a little choppy there. But nevertheless, the game, when you're fighting in the combat, looks real fun. There's a lot of numbers popping out because it is somewhat of like a beat 'em up RPG style. That's how Skylanders are, and if it wasn't for Skylanders being structured the way it is every single year with all those different toys and all that stuff, I would totally be into the game. But that's just my thing. It's just the way that it's structured. I think the gameplay is fun. I've played it before. It's solid. It plays nice. It's like an old school beat 'em up but 3D, and I actually like it, but I hate the way they do things as far as all the different toys that you have to buy and all that. And I know I might look like a hypocrite with Amiibo behind me, but Amiibo characters look cool, and they're from classic Nintendo franchises that I love, and even third-party franchises like Sonic and Pac-Man. So these Skylanders do not look anywhere near as cool. So that's my thing, and it's every single year. So that's the one thing that I do have a problem with. But what do you guys think about this gameplay? I think it looks pretty good, and this might actually be a game that I try out. This might be the one Skylanders game that I actually just purchase and I buy like a few toys, and that's that. But I want to know what you guys think. Please let me know in the comment section below, because the gameplay is looking pretty freaking sweet. I do have to say so myself. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the next story here. Miiverse will be getting a whole redesign, and it's actually dropping on July 29th, so very soon here, and there's going to be all sorts of additions to this new Miiverse. Let's go over some of these details straight from Tom himself on Miiverse. 1. You will be able to attach screenshots to your drawings in the drawing section. 2. It will be possible to post screenshots saved from your album section into your play journal. 3. We are planning to enable the posting of screenshots saved in album into the drawings and discussion sections as well. This will be implemented sometime in the near future. 4. Posts and comments made before the renewal will not be deleted and will be viewable after the renewal. 5. The activity feed will remain as it is. You just won't be able to post in it. You can still see posts made by your friends and the people that you are following. If you have any further questions, feel free to share them with us. Thanks for reading. So I'm not a huge person on Miiverse anymore. I used to go on there a lot, but it just takes too much time, and sometimes you spend all day on Miiverse instead of actually playing the games. So personally, I would like to have them have better integration to where you can quickly post stuff on Miiverse and not have to boot up the whole thing. I know some games do allow that, but it's very spotty on which games do. I think the Universal app for next generation, the NX, where it's integrated into the dashboard, integrated into every single game to where you can post and share. I think that's the way to go. But overall, the designs look cool. The redesign looks really good. I've seen some of the previews and everything. And overall, Miiverse is a great idea. I just don't think it's implemented as well as it could be, but I think that's coming next with the Nintendo NX, and hopefully they integrate it to where everyone is happy. Alright, moving on to the next story here. Crunchyroll is now free for everyone on Wii U to watch anime. So beforehand, if you wanted to watch anime on the Crunchyroll app, you had to have the premium membership to where there's limited ads or no ads, and you can watch all sorts of animes on your Wii U through the app. But now, at this point, you can actually watch anime on the Crunchyroll app, download it and watch. If you are a free member, you just have to watch ads in between. So I think that's a pretty fair trade-off, and Crunchyroll is really cool. I used to use it all the time back in the day when I was watching a bunch of different animes. So yeah, go ahead, it's available at this point. Nintendo's already sending advertisements to our gamepad screens, so yeah, go ahead and download the app, watch some anime. Naruto Shippuden. I recommend that anime. Okay, next story here. We have a rumor about Nintendo and Universal about the construction of a third park, and there's going to be Mario Kart rides and Legend of Zelda attractions. This is big news if it does turn out to be true. So let's go over the details, and I got this from Go Nintendo, fantastic website. So Universal is ready to move ahead with plans to construct a third theme park in Orlando. Might split Nintendo into multiple parks. Mario Kart ride is in the works, rumblings of Pokemon and Legend of Zelda attractions as well. So this is pretty cool. If it does go down, this is going to be a big boost for Nintendo's brands. I think having Pokemon, Mario, and Zelda is key at launch. You need to make sure you have those 3 things. And that's funny because I think Nintendo needs those 3 things for the launch of the NX. So launching a theme park or whether you're launching a system, you're going to need Mario, Pokemon, and Zelda. So that's really cool. A Mario Kart ride would be fantastic. Or what if they even mix it with F-Zero? Mario Kart Cross F-Zero Mute City ride? That would be boss. They need to do it. Nintendo, get on that. So I'm looking forward to this. This is a rumor at this point, but if it does turn out to be true, I'm taking a trip to Orlando and I'm definitely going to check out the new Nintendo Land here. So it's going to be pretty cool if it does turn out to be true. Alright, so we got another gameplay update for Devil's Third coming to the Wii U. So check this out, guys. 2 main components are the solo play and multiplayer. The latter has several modes, such as the main mode where clans fight for control of the United States, as well as Team Deathmatch, Carnival, and Crossfight. Customization options let you wear different kinds of gear in order to change stats. It is a 16.4 gigabyte download on the Wii U, so pretty big, so you need that space, need an extra hard drive for the most part. Gameplay and Wii U Pro Controller, of course, are supported. Off TV play, USB keyboard chat will be enabled for text chat. There will not be voice chat into the game, and microtransactions are there for people who want them. So you can spend real life money to buy golden eggs, which then can be traded for weapons or in-game currency. So I'm not as big on the microtransactions if it's just that. Like if it's just you want to hurry up a little bit faster, that's fine if people do that. Just as long as you can play the game normally and earn the money and be able to buy weapons at a good rate, I don't have a problem with that, and I never really have with any other game. So that's cool. I think the gamepad, obviously, Itagaki said that you need to use the Pro Controller. Probably using the Pro Controller for that game. But the multiplayer, from what they've shown, it looks really fun. I mean, the single player might be a hit or miss depending on who plays it, but I think the multiplayer does look fun, at least a B or C tier type game. And like I said, Nintendo Wii U needs more B and C tier games because it's not going to get every single AAA game in the world. Neither do the other systems get every single AAA game. Every game isn't going to be a super AAA. Nintendo just needs to pump out more games, and these B and C tier games are more than welcome because I'd rather have those games than nothing. Although I do wish it was coming sooner because it's coming Q4 2015 instead of like summer like everyone else, like August. But hey, it is what it is for us North American folk. So yeah, that's the info on Devil's Third. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story here. Alright, so the Hyperkin Pro Cube controller was tested out by many pro players over at EVO and they really liked it. So for many of you guys who play Super Smash Bros on the Wii U, or if you play Melee on the GameCube, if you use the GameCube controller, that the buttons are kind of squishy. And I actually have my GameCube controller right over here. Alright, so here's my controller for Super Smash Bros that I use, the GameCube controller, and as you can tell, the buttons are pressure sensitive, and nothing you really do in Super Smash Bros. Actually needs pressure sensitive buttons. The cool thing about the Hyperkin Pro Cube controller is that it's digital, so digital as in like the Z where you just press it, there's no pressure sensitive triggers. So that's pretty cool, and a lot of players really liked how it felt because it felt more responsive, because when you're in the heat of the moment and you actually have to click it down, I think it's easier to actually just have a digital controller, just like these face buttons are. It's better for a fighting game like Super Smash Bros. So I'm actually really looking forward to the Pro Cube controller. I'm going to definitely cop one. A lot of the players were saying that it was really good, and we should probably be seeing it by the end of the year, maybe next year, it depends. I think the Super Smash Bros community is going to open up to this controller because from what I've seen, it does look awesome. So heck yeah, Pro Cube controller, better options. I'm all down for that. Alright, so that was all the news for today that I have for you guys. Make sure you check out all of my segments this week on PE News. I did a bunch of different articles, so if I didn't cover anything, it's probably in that for this week. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the main topic here, and that is Nintendo's summer drought. So Nintendo recently said that they don't release games over the summer because most of their business is done at the end of the year, which is almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy because all you do is release your games at the end of the year, so obviously you're going to have the bulk of your sales at the end of the year. But I do feel that that is a mistake because you leave your fans waiting and waiting and waiting for games, and many of them might sell your system, or many of them might get into other systems and play them more if you're not releasing a steady stream of big games, of retail games, not just eShop and virtual console titles. Obviously, if you've looked at the sales of the Wii U, people do feel that there aren't enough games coming out, therefore it's not getting the sales that it's getting. Whereas if you look at the Nintendo 3DS, has much better third-party support. Nintendo even puts out a lot of games on that system, and they're pretty spaced out. You're going to get games pretty much at all points, although it is a little bit of a dry period at this point where they're not releasing much, well, unless you live in Japan, that is. And with Nintendo here in the Nintendo of America, we aren't getting Devil's Third at the same time everybody else is getting Devil's Third. Now, there might be some upgrades to that game, and that's why they're holding on to it, but we need to wait and see on that one. But I want to know what you guys think about the summer droughts, because Nintendo seems to be perfectly fine with not giving their fans any type of big titles for many months throughout the summer and just say, hey, go play Splatoon or something like that, or buy some virtual console titles. And I'm not a huge fan of that. I do think that Nintendo, especially for next generation, they need to make sure they fix that. It needs to be a steady stream of titles, and you're not going to be able to rely on third parties, because even if you do create a system that is x86, and even if you do create a system that third-party developers will have no problem porting to, they can always use the sales scapegoat. They can always use that. Well, there's not enough of an install base. Oh, well, Nintendo fans don't buy these games. So you need to make sure that you have a plan B to make sure that you cover all of those months. And I think that having a portable and a console and having more games come to that system to where you can play anything, so when you buy a Nintendo game, you get that on your portable, you get that on your console. That needs to be something that's a thing, whether it's cross-buy, whether it's cross-play, all of that stuff. Nintendo needs to be the groundbreakers. They need to be the innovators when it comes to that. And I don't want to turn this into an NX speculation thread or anything like that, but I do feel that to help these droughts, because we are moving into a next generation, Nintendo definitely needs to adopt some type of technology to where when you buy a game, whether it's a virtual console, whether it's their next generation games, you can get it on both things. You can get it on your handheld, you can get it on your console, or you can be able to take it's a hybrid. There needs to be something that they do, because you can't have these type of droughts and expect to run and get a lot of business coming your way, which the Nintendo Wii U is definitely not doing that. And while the 3DS has been better, don't get me wrong, the 3DS is doing fine, but still, it could do better in my opinion if it had more Western third parties and more developers actually supporting it, or if it actually was able to play some of the console games, or if it had true cross-play or cross-buy to where when you buy a game on your virtual console on the Wii U, you get that on your 3DS and vice versa. I think that would actually increase the sales of the Nintendo 3DS. Also, another thing that I do think that would increase things, if they actually upgraded their systems. Nintendo seems to think that it's okay to not upgrade your systems. They haven't added new features to the Wii U or Nintendo 3DS in a very long time. So I do think that if you combined the droughts with the games without any upgrades to your systems, it can frustrate some of the fans. So going forward in the future, I think those are things that Nintendo really needs to look hard at and say, hey, we can improve in these areas, especially when other companies are doing just that. Alright, so that wraps it up for this PlayerEssence Cross Nintendo. Please hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more PlayerEssence Cross Nintendos every single week. And also subscribe if you're someone new, because right here on PlayerEssence you're going to get a variety of videos covering Microsoft, Sony, and of course Nintendo. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Check out the description below for all of the article links and links to all of our social networks. Give us a follow, like, tweet, all that good stuff. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys for the next episode. Peace.